Hello and welcome to this new video session of Unity Games Development. In the previous sessions, we discussed how to deal with screen elements, how to place game object and how to move game objects and all other stuff like windows and panels. Now in this video, we are going to discuss about local versus global coordinate system in Unity, use of hand tools, use of drag and drop events, how to zoom using control key and zoom using mouse wheel button, and what is orbital mode, fly through mode, use of different shortcut keys like WASD and QE, 2D versus 3D space, transform game object components, and parent-child relationship. So let's get started now and see the first topic, which is local versus global coordinate system. Heading back to Unity. Now this is the place where we in our last session we left off. Now in Unity there are two systems, local and global coordinate systems. In other words, global, you can say world space as well in Unity. Now what does this mean? If you see in Unity, this is the toggle button. Right now by default you are working in the local coordinate system. If I click on this button, so see, this is the toggle button, it turned into global coordinate system. So I can click again, so it is shifted back to local coordinate system. So if you click again, this will turn into global coordinate system. Now what is the difference between these two local and global coordinate systems? Suppose you have three game objects. One game object, you are calling it enemy. Second game object, you are calling it alien, suppose. And we have third game object, which is our hero or our player in this context. Now once you place these objects uh, relative to each other, or you might be creating a parent-child relationship. So one component is inside the player or the hero game object. Now when you move the parent game object, similarly the child game object will also move. Now this depends upon the local coordinate systems. Suppose you want to move the player, you want to move the alien, you want to move the enemy according to the global coordinate system. In that case you need to shift to global coordinate system. We will see a practical example as we proceed. Okay, once we develop a complete game, okay, there will be a project in the end. So once we develop a complete game, there you will understand the local versus global coordinate system. I hope it is clear to you all. So let's move and see the next topic here, use of hand tool. Now the shortcut key, the first shortcut key which you can use is the Q key. So see, once I press the Q key from the keyboard, see the hand tool is selected right now. Now if I click on this, well, the use of this hand tool you are very much aware of. You can zoom in. I'm using the mouse wheel button to zoom in, zoom out. Or you can even use the control key pressed to zoom in and zoom out. Similarly, you can use the alt key pressed. See, this is an alt key. If you keep the alt key pressed, you will see the the hand icon has shifted or turned into an I key here, and this is basically called orbital mode. So you can see, you can switch to orbital mode and you can move your scene or game objects in an orbital mode. Okay, so similarly there are other variations as well. Let me just look into it. Yes, as we have discussed about the alt key as well, use of alt key, and then you can move the scene. The next one is use of fly mode. Now what is this fly mode? Now in this fly mode you need to press the right key, keep the right key pressed. Look at this, you will get the difference between these two. When you press the alt key, your icon for hand has turned into an eye shape. Now if you release the eye key, you will switch back to hand tool. Now if you press and hold the right key of your mouse, see the right key is holded. Now if you press Q, you will be moving upwards, and if you press E, you will be moving downwards. If you press S, you will if you press A, you will be moving left, and if you press D, you will be moving right. See, if I keep it pressed, you can see I'm moving left. This is A key. Now if I keep the D key pressed, I'm moving to the right side. So let me discuss this again with you. So if you keep, let me discuss again with you, if you keep this right key pressed of your key of your mouse, and then if you press A, you will be moving left side, as you can see. And if I press D, you will be moving towards the right side. If you press Q, you will be moving upward, and if you press E, you will be heading downwards, as you can see. So these are the shortcut keys which you can use using the hand tool, okay, in order to move to different scene places. The next item of information we are going to discuss is 2D versus 3D space, or 2D versus 3D scene view. Now by default, as when we created this Unity project, we created a 3D games. Now once we create the 3D games, the 2D game feature will be disabled. Now if I click on this 2D game feature available over here, you will be moved into 2D positioning system, two-dimensional positioning system. Now remember, there will be the chances where we will be working in 2D space when we create the layout, when we create the inventory system, or when we create the screen elements, like you want to display some scores kind of stuff. So in that case we will be working in 2D system, but right now we are dealing with the 3D objects. That's why we need to shift back to 3D. So this is a toggle button. You can click on this 2D button to turn off or to head back to 3D. Similarly, there is an ambient light placed on this scene. Actually, you can turn off this light. You can see this light. You can see the dark shadows in the back side. But if you want to apply the lights from all the sides, okay, so the light will be, the ambient light will be applied to all the sides over here. You can turn off and on the audio. Sometimes when you are developing your game and this audio can disturb you, for the time being you can turn on or off this audio as well. Now under this scene we have different options here. In the scene view we can change, we can show the wireframe. So this one is the wireframe structure, as you can see here. This is the wireframe, and go to the scene view. Under the scene view you will find this drop down menu. Click on this. This is shaded wireframe. This one is the shaded wireframe. As you can see, some lines are placed inside as well, and shadow cascade, render paths, alpha channel, overview, and we have maps as well. But we will go back again and we will be working with the shaded view over here. the mod. So this is quite convenient for me, and whatever is convenient for you, you guys can select the right choice for your options here. So let's see what is the next item of discussion. Well, the next is the transform component of any game object. So let's discuss about the transform component in Unity. So if I select this game object, you can select any game object in order to understand this transform properties in the inspector window. Let me just close this project window from here in order to have more space to work with. So this is the component, this is the cube number 12 which I have selected in my case. Okay, once you select this cube, there are ways to change the size and the positions of this. Let me zoom in. In order to move this object, okay, we can, okay, let's start with the positions first. Once we select this, and here is the X, Y and Z positions of this selected object. Now to change this position, if you want, you can change this position to 8. So see, it is slightly moved from this position. Now if I change this position to 10, see, it is moved up. This is Y axis. Similarly, if I change this position to -6, the -6 will move, the minus value will move to the left and plus value will move to the right side. So remember this. So if I change this to +6 here, it is going to move this object to the right side. Now similarly, if you want to rotate this object, you can rotate it. Let's suppose if I want to rotate it to 90 degree, see, it is rotated to 90 degree on x-axis. On y-axis, if I want to rotate it to, let's suppose, 120 degree, see, it is rotated 120 degree on y-axis. Similarly, on z-axis, if I want to rotate this item to 180 degree, so this is rotated to 180 degree. Next, you can scale this. Right now, if you see the size, the default size of any game object will be 1. Now if you want to increase or decrease the size, you can do it using the scale position as well. So x-axis, if I change this scale to 2, see, the x-axis scale has been increased to 2. If I change this to 2 from on y-axis as well, so x and y, both axes have been increased to 2 scales. And if I change this to 2 at z position, you can see the size of this cube has been changed again. Now there are other ways to do the same things. What you can do, if you wanted to change the position, you can use this toolbar available over here. And by the way, the shortcut key is, if you press Q, you will use the hand tool. If you press W, see, the object is selected. If I press W, see, I can see now, I can, as I have rotated to 180 degree, and this time if you see, the Z axis is heading towards down, and you can see the X axis is facing towards this and Y axis is facing towards the other side, actually, because we have rotated this one. See, the rotation is 180 degree. So if you want to bring this game object to default, what you can do, you can click on these 3 dots, the option menu here in the transform component, click on this and click on reset. So it is going to reset its positions and everything. So the position will be 0, x-axis 0 position, y-axis 0, z 0, rotation, no rotation is given, it's all zeros over here, and the scale is also 1 for this component. Now let me move it up. So using this position tool, we can move it to a position whatever is convenient for us or whatever is required for this. So let me just move it up can see this. Similarly, this is activated using W key, or if you want to rotate, you can press E key, or you can click on this icon. Shortcut key is E. So now you can rotate, and this time just see the rotation option over here, x-axis, y-axis and 0. And remember these lines also. The red lines means the x-axis, the green means the y-axis, and blue means z-axis. So if I want to rotate it on, say for instance, z-axis, see, you can do this way and it is rotating to the z-axis. Look at this, and you can observe this in the transform rotation z-axis as well. This is how you can rotate. If you want to rotate on y-axis, see, by the way, it is rotating in all axes actually, and the one which I have selected. So if you want to, you can select y-axis and then you can rotate it, though it is rotating in all direction actually, if you see. So similarly, you can also rotate this way. If you want to rotate only x-axis, this will be more convenient for you. Okay, so bring your cursor here, you see double-headed arrow. Now you can increase and decrease the values. On y-axis, bring your cursor here and increase and decrease the values on y-axis only. Z-axis, you can increase and decrease the values, and you can see. So remember, Q is for hand tool, W is for position tool, see the position tool is selected, and E is for rotation. Similarly, you can press R to scale this. So you can scale on x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. Suppose I want to increase the scale on z-axis. See, I can increase the scale on z-axis, increase and decrease. I want to increase the scale on y-axis, and similarly on x-axis also. See, you can increase and decrease the scales on different axes using this shortcut key as well, which is R key. So similarly, if you press T from the keyboard, so this is a transform, this is a 2D, you can say 2D kind of structure to scale this object. And if you see, when you scale this, you will see all three values are going to change. See, even the x-axis, y-axis, z-axis of position and scale is being updated. See, if I increase this one, so let me just move it to the center so that you guys can see. So if I click on this icon, so see, we can scale this in all direction. You can move back to the previous scales, or you can go back and click on these three dots and reset this. Make sure the same game object is selected which you want to reset. See, it is reset to. So now if we move it, let me just, so guys, if you have messed with the interface actually, so what you can do here, you can simply just make sure that 2D is off, this 2D feature is off. Use the hand tool and use the Alt key in order to rotate this to a proper direction. So see, you can rotate it to a direction, proper direction, and you can adjust your view accordingly. This is how you can bring back your scene back to its original position where we left off. So remember, in this session we discussed how to use this hand tool, how to use this positioning tool, and then rotation, scaling and 2D scaling also. So these are the uh, shortcut keys, and these are very useful, you can say, object manipulation tools which we have discussed so far. Now another thing is, we want to create a parent child relationship now. So how to create a parent child relationship? In that case, I'll go back to hierarchy view. Now in the empty area, I'm going to create, right click and create an empty game object. So right click in this hierarchy view and create an empty game object. This is an empty game object. So this empty game object is just like a container. We can call it a container actually. So which will contain different objects. If you're coming from the background of HTML, you remember the div tag, okay, which we create in HTML. So similar kind of concept is given over here. Now what I want to move all these cubes into this newly created game object. So you can select them, keep the shift key pressed, select them all, and then drag and drop into game object. See, drag and drop into game object here. So now see, they are just, if you closely observe, we have this drop down menu available with the game object. We can expand and we can collapse all these game objects. So it means all these cubes have become the children of game object here. You can see all these cubes are the children of this game object. You can expand and you can see. This is very useful when you're working with your game. You know, you will be working with tens of different screen elements or game objects. So in order to make your view more, you can say, clean, now in that case you can create a parent child kind of relationship here. So now we need to rename this game object. So instead of calling it game object, we can call it a wall. You can click here and you can change the name, or you can go to this inspector window, make sure this empty game object is selected, and here in the inspector window you can change the name, and I'm gonna call it here a wall. So press enter to register this name. So don't forget to press enter here. So press enter, the name is registered now. So we can expand and we can collapse. This is how it is going to work here. Well, that's it for now, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much.